Today's video feature is a detailed discussion about alimony in South Carolina divorce cases. Now, there are any number of types of alimony, but I'm going to try to make this video less academic and more practical, and certainly, hopefully, more interesting. We're going to deal with three issues that come up. The first one is that anyone who is going through divorce and is eligible for alimony, certainly if they've been cheated on by their spouse, they view alimony as a club and want it to be used to punish the other side for bad behavior. There is some effect of bad behavior on an alimony calculation, but it is not used by the courts to punish someone. Alimony is really a financial vehicle to try to even the playing field and keep someone from going from a standard of living to something very remote and even impoverished. The second issue is the types of alimonies that we typically see are two. It's really, we couch it in terms of a short-term fixed period of alimony, but it's really rehabilitative in nature. The usual scenario is at mediation, we want to enable the other spouse who may have quit a job or dropped out of school to become a mother and raise children at home. We want to give that person a chance to finish their education and or get back into the workforce. And once they're back on their feet, then of course alimony should come to an end because they can make a very good income, is close or approximately close to what the other spouse is earning. But it allows them to have some stability and some security so that they can get back on their feet. And in those types of arrangements, we would have a definite fixed period and we would take out the prohibition for remarriage. So even if they were to get married during the short-term fixed alimony, they would continue to receive it so that they can get back on their feet. Now, the last type of alimony is the one that is dreaded in the hearts of those who are facing it. It is welcomed by those who are potentially receiving it. We call it lifetime alimony. The courts call it permanent periodic alimony. Now, it certainly is scary in theory to have to pay a former spouse alimony for the rest of their life, but there's some caveats that are really important that come into play. So anytime we're dealing with a client who's been in a long-term marriage, and in South Carolina, the practical definition of a long-term marriage is 10 years or longer, but we've certainly had marriages of 20 years and even 30 years that just for some reason at the end of the day came to a close, and the one party is looking at lifetime permanent periodic alimony. What I always look at is the person who is going to receive it. How old are they? How independent they are? How financially secure they are? If they're the kind of person who is comfortable being alone, then of course my client could very well look at a long-term alimony proposition, and we would want to negotiate something more of a fixed or block, a lump sum alimony to limit their risk. If someone on the other side who is looking to receive alimony cannot be independent, does not prefer to be alone, but prefers to be in a relationship, then I think the threat of lifetime alimony is lessened because they're most likely going to either get involved in a long-term relationship or remarry, which would end my client's responsibility. So we have to look at each case individually. We have to look at the person to determine what is in the best interest of our client. And also, even if you're paying permanent periodic alimony, the courts are not going to require you to work until death. So most folks retire in their early to mid 60s, and so if that's something that you're going to do and your income is affected like most folks who retire, then absolutely you can go back and ask the court to lower your alimony payments, because again, retirement, at least in the old days, was something a lot of folks look forward to. Now these days, a lot of folks don't even consider retirement. The goal is some type of part-time employment, but even then, once you're in your 60s and your income is going down through no malicious intent, but just through the natural aging process, I think family court judges are receptive to that. So alimony is a very complicated part of any divorce case. Certainly you're going to have a lot of questions. If you have additional questions, please reach out to me. My name is Robert Reeves. My mobile number 704-351-7979, or email me robert@rjrlaw.com. Hope it helps.